Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today this video is about Microsoft's Windows 11 Insider Preview build 22631.1825, which is released to the beta channel. As a reminder, insiders previously on build 22624 will automatically get moved to build 22631 via an enablement package. The enablement package artificially increments the build number for the update, with new features getting rolled out and turned on to make it easier to differentiate from devices, with the update with features off by default. Insiders who landed in the group with new features turned off by default build 22621 can check for updates and choose to install the update that will have features rolling out build 22631. Starting with this build and talking about fixes for both build 22621.1825 and build 22631.1825. This update provides the full amount of storage capacity of all your OneDrive subscriptions. It also displays the total storage on the Accounts page in the Settings app. This update addresses an issue that affects .sourcing. It fails files that contain class definition in Windows PowerShell. This update addresses an issue that affects exe. It stops working after you sign out. This issue occurs after you upgrade your machine to Windows 11 Azure Virtual Desktop (AVD) and sign into that machine. This update addresses an issue that affects Server Message Block (SMB). You cannot access the SMB shared folder. The errors are not enough memory resources or insufficient system resources. This update addresses a memory leak. It occurs every time you print a rich text document. This update addresses an issue that affects audio playback. It fails on devices that have certain processors. This update addresses an issue that affects the Local Security Authority Subsystem Service (LSASS). It stops working. This occurs when you use Azure Virtual Desktop (AVD). This update addresses an issue that affects the touch keyboard. Sometimes, it does not show the correct layout based on the current input scope. This update addresses a multifunction label printer issue. It affects the installation of some of them. This update addresses an issue that might affect a large reparse point. You might get a stop error when you use NTFS to access it. This issue occurs after a cancelled fsctl set operation changes the reparse tag. This update addresses an issue that affects narrator. It now announces text attributes correctly for words, such as misspelled, deletion change, and comment. This update addresses an issue that affects a computer when it renders a half-tone bitmap. The computer stops working. This update addresses an issue that affects devices that have multiple, discrete GPUs. You cannot choose high-performance GPUs from the default graphics settings page. This update changes the International Mobile Subscriber Identity (IMSI) ranges for certain mobile providers. This update addresses an event viewer issue. It affects the rendering of a forwarded event log. This update addresses an issue that affects the Chinese and Japanese Input Method Editor (IME). When you search within the emoji panel, search might fail for some of you. This update addresses an issue that affects the Chinese and Japanese handwriting panel. It does not show text prediction candidates or stops responding. This occurs when you select a word from the candidate list of the handwriting panel. This update addresses an issue that stops your device from working when it resumes from modern standby. This update addresses an issue that affects the Windows firewall. The firewall drops all connections to the IP address of a captive portal. This occurs when you choose the Captive Portal Addresses option. This update addresses an issue that affects devices that are joined to Azure Active Directory, Azure AD. The Windows firewall cannot apply the correct domain and profile for them. This update addresses an issue that affects the run as it stops working. The device behaves as if you did not sign into your account. This update changes the support phone number for Microsoft India for Windows activation. This update addresses an issue that affects applications that perform certain actions in a callback. The applications might stop working. These actions include closing a window, WM_close. This update addresses an issue that affects the use of the event viewer. The issue limits the number of event sources that users who are not administrators can access. This update addresses an issue that affects the Storage Spaces Direct (S2D) cluster. It might not come online. This occurs after a periodic password rollover. This update addresses an issue that affects access to tab settings for emote sites. The update addresses an issue that sends unexpected password expiration notices to users. This occurs when you set up an account to use SmartCard as required for interactive logon and set enable rolling of expiring NTLM secrets. This update addresses an issue that affects the touch keyboard. It shows the wrong layout for the French-Canadian language. So that was all from Microsoft for this build. If you want to know more, follow the link to the official Microsoft blog from the description. Hope it was useful. Consider like for the video, subscribe to the channel, and if you have any questions, just comment down below. Thanks for watching and have a great day ahead.